Welcome to the Lancashire Lad podcast. Welcome to the Lancashire Lad podcast. This week on the episode of Balls to It, we discuss our favourite or best 5 foreign Premiership midfielders. That includes 3 centre midfielders and 2 wide attacking players. We're going to hear the opinion from Tony, Craig, and of course, Alex as well along the show. And by all means, if you disagree or you want to add your team below, feel free to do so. So without further ado, let me ask the guys how they are. Alex Taylor, how are you this week? Okay.
I'm very well, thank you. Looking forward to this.
Yes, very good. Looking forward to this. Obviously, a position or positions I used to play. So, yes, it's an interesting area to talk about. Especially. So that was it.
And the Godfather, Tony Lewis.
Oui, ça va bien, merci.
Okay, so without further ado, we're going to go around. I was going to say we're going to go around the room, but that doesn't work. We're going to go around the Zoom room and we'll find out who our midfield threes are first, and then we'll finish off with the attacking wide players. So we're going to go straight to Craig Stanley this week. Craig, who is your midfield three, please?
Number 4 who's going to play in front of the back 4, Patrick Vieira. What a signing he was for Arsenal. I don't think they paid much for him, maybe up to about £1 million. I just think he, in that position, transformed the Arsenal team, helped him obviously achieve many successes. And the way he played, I just used to love watching him play. He could pass the ball, he could score goals, he could make tackles and just win the game single-handedly himself. And I used to obviously always love the battles he used to have with Roy Keane, players like that. And he was definitely someone just to sit in front of the back 4, but he could do, I think, numerous jobs in midfield. But I think he was one of the main catalysts to Arsenal's success at the time. So my defensive midfielder would be Patrick Vieira, just sitting in front of the back 4 and just making things happen, really.
Okay, next player.
Next player is another Arsenal player. I've gone for Cesc Fabregas. I just think easy for me to say. Chef. Got a bit of a list. Cesc Fabregas. But yes, when he come into the Arsenal team, another fantastic midfielder, could do everything, pass, score, could break things up. And I just think used to arrive in the box late and just another player in that Arsenal team who used to dominate that area of the pitch. And I think with him, Vieira, and obviously the other Arsenal midfielders, he used to be fantastic and just someone I used to love watching play. And obviously he had a great career in the Premiership, going to Chelsea, and then he was at Barcelona and stuff like that. So he was a fantastic player and just someone I loved watching playing, really. And then my other midfielder I've gone for is Yaya Toure. I just think what a beast in midfield. Another player who can do everything a midfielder would love to do. Can sit in front of the back 4, can get around the pitch, can score some fantastic goals. And he's one midfielder I think over the years probably doesn't get the credit he deserves. I think
all the birthday cakes.
Yeah, all the birthday cakes, yeah. Throwing his toys out the pram. But I just think he was a fantastic midfielder. And at the time when Man City were obviously trying to dominate English football, I think he's one of the main reasons, which we've spoke about before with Vincent Kompany and David Silva and players like that, that he was a massive influence on that Man City team, and he could do anything as a midfielder. And the reason I sort of chose him because he spent a fair bit of time at Man City and he was a great midfielder and he could do everything. So that's my midfield 3, and they're all quite similar players, but had great careers in the Premiership.
Yeah, so we've got in there Cesc Fabregas, Yaya Toure,
Mr. Fabregas, Mr. Toure.
yeah. I should have just said Mr. Shouldn't I? It would have been easier to say.
Right, it's okay. No, an interesting combination in the midfield there. So, okay, Tony Lewis, who's in your midfield 3?
Yeah, we don't need to reiterate. Vieira's got to be in there, hasn't he, all day? So no need to just go over old ground with what Craig's just said. 100%. He was an absolute beast, wasn't he? Top player. I'm going to mix it up a little bit and go couple of current players, actually. I'm going to go Kevin De Bruyne and Fernandes, Bruno.
All right. It's a brave call.
I know that Craig likes longevity and stuff, but I think De Bruyne's stats over the last few years just speak for themselves. One of the best creators I've seen. Could have chucked in David Silva in there as, replacing one of them. But I'm going to go for Bruno just for the actual impact he's had on this United squad. You see his mentality, his attitude, his work rate, his tracking back, things that kind of go under the radar sometimes. So that's an easy 3. Not an easy 3 because there's such a, array of talent there you could choose from. But I just thought sometimes with them being current players, they get overlooked. So I just thought, Fernandes' season, his stats, these last 18 months are absolutely ridiculous. And Kevin De Bruyne has been pretty likewise, for inconsistent.
I feel that. I feel it. It's like I said, it's a bit of a surprise hearing Fernandes, just because he's only been there such a short period of time. But as you said, the impact he's had it's been phenomenal. So fair shout. Over to Alex Taylor.
Right,
looking forward to this. Who's in your midfield 3?
So my first one is Claudio Makelele. He was 30 years old when he came to Chelsea. Spent 5 seasons there.
Someone's been doing their own work.
Oh, I have. After the other week, I am on it this week. But what a great player. He created a new kind of role. Which, is to have a role named after you still. The Makelele role is the way he played in front of the defence. But what a player. My other 2 are David Silva. I think he's one of the best players to play in the Premier League. Pick a pass out, won everything for City. Great player, great ability. And then once again, my other one is Patrick Vieira as well. And, I don't need to say too much about him, but he kind of was the reason that Arsenal wrestled the Premier League off United. And, he wore the captain's armband and he set a great example. And they're my 3. So Makelele, David Silva and Patrick Vieira.
Nice combination. Nice combination indeed. Right, my 3. Let's see if I can get some shake of the heads going or people pulling faces at home. So my midfield 3 is, number 1 is I'm playing someone slightly deeper, and that person's going to be Xavi Alonso. It was an absolute maestro for Liverpool. It was just absolutely fantastic. He could break up play. His passing was second to none. He was a leader as well, even though he wasn't that vocal. He got around the pitch. He was just a tidy footballer. And everywhere he went, he started. He started for Liverpool. He went to, obviously, Real Madrid, was a focal point for them. And then, of course, at Bayern Munich as well. It was an absolute baller at Liverpool. And, he's going to sit slightly deep in my midfield, just pulling the strings. Slightly in front of him, I'm going to have David Silva. When Klopp first came to Liverpool, I remember an interview with him when he was asked who the best player in the Premiership was at that time. And he didn't take much time before he said David Silva. I think what he's done over the years, a lot of it goes unnoticed a lot of the time, but he was just ever present in that 10-year spell at City, helped him win the league, and it was just a joy to watch. So he's going to be in there to unlock the door going slightly forward.
Can I just guess your third one? Is your third one Stefan Gerrardio?
Yes. So Stefan Gerrardio. No, my third person, it was literally a toss-up between Yaya Toure and Kevin De Bruyne. And I decided to go with Yaya Toure. I just think compared to the other 2 midfielders, he had something different. He could drive and run forward with the ball, powerful, strong. And he could stick the ball in the net quite often. So, that's my midfield 3. We've got Xavi Alonso, David Silva, and Yaya Toure. Chaps, before we move on, is there anyone that was unlucky to miss out in your midfield three? I'll just jump in with the ones that were unlucky with me. Of course, like I said, Kevin De Bruyne was unlucky to miss out. Fernandinho was close to going in as well with his longevity and how he's played for City over the years. And the other one that I was thinking of, but did he really do enough while he was here, was Modric, going on to win the Ballon d'Or. So those three players were in my mind. Anyone else, Tony? Anyone miss out for you?
Saber Veron for me. Bit of a disappointing signing, ultimately, for United. Back in the day, I think he came with high expectations and started off really, really well, but then just never clicked. Don't know whether it was the re-emergence of Scholes or just Scholes' consistency, or just, that cliche of the South Americans not fitting into the British kind of game and doing it on a cold, wet night in Stoke on a Tuesday, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Who knows? But a shame it didn't work out, because at first I was absolutely astounded by him. And I think, like you said, like Modric, and even, a real random one is Guy up at Blackburn. He was
great
phenomenal up there. You know what I mean? One of my mates' absolutely favourite players of all time.
Oh, fantastic. Alex Taylor, anyone miss out in your team that was unlucky?
Michael Essien were one.
Ooh, yeah, what player?
And then my other one was JJ Kocher.
You forget about him, don't you?
Them type of light tug guy, and they were just like JJ Kocher. You watch some of his replays back, and the guy is like a proper baller, and everybody says, one of the best footballers they've ever seen.
They named him twice.
Yeah, that's what they said.
More names than you, Alex.
And my other one was Ruud Gullit as well. I had Ruud Gullit.
Oh, yeah.
Good one.
Yeah, well done. The thing is, with what you said about JJ Kocher, is every now and again, a player comes along that lights up the Premier League, like just lights it up. And he was literally, I think he was probably one of the first, back then and stuff, to come in and just have that thing where you wanted to watch Match a Day to see what he'd done, didn't you? Craig, who missed out in your team?
We spoke about Makelele. I think the job he did for Chelsea was fantastic, and like Alex said, he sort of transformed that position. Sort of the role was named after him. He did it fantastic.
So he was unlucky.
He was very unlucky with Vieira. and N'Golo Kante, I think, in the next couple of years, what he's shown at Chelsea at the minute is he's sort of, now he's playing in his right position and his proper position as a defensive midfielder instead of trying to be a bit more attacking in to the left or to the right. He needs to play in the middle, and he's sort of showing for Chelsea at the minute. And I think Tuchel, whatever the Chelsea manager,
Mr. Tuchel.
Mr. Tuchel, yeah. He says how important Kante is for them, and then also, if you was gonna De Bruyne, which we spoke about, and then even like a Dennis Bergkamp maybe playing as a number 10, I looked at that sort of thing. But with our formation, and even like Eric Cantona as well, just maybe playing a bit more advanced. Really, they were the sort of players I looked at, because we went with the more solid 4 as a formation. Them sort of players probably didn't get in, but we can speak about them another week. But yeah, they were the sort of players that were very close with my decisions, really.
Now, great shout with Kante, because, I mean, I don't know if you watched the game last night, which is Real Madrid-Chelsea, but he was just, wow. He stopped everything happening last night. I don't think Madrid had a shot on target, did he, last night? Or
his overlapping run in like the 85th minute, I was he's got legs.
No,
but it's crazy how for some reason they started then playing him out of position, trying to play Jorginho, Kovacic, people like that who are not. Yes, they're better footballers than Kante, but you need to get the football back off these better teams, and he does it. And even when he gets the ball, which he showed at Leicester and he's shown at Chelsea now, he can make things happen. He ain't as bad on the ball as what people think, but he's making a massive difference to Chelsea, which he did for Leicester, because he more or less transformed Leicester really in midfield, didn't he? For what was it, 200 grand or something like that. So he's a fantastic player.
He's been he went off the boil a bit, like you said, when he wasn't playing in his right position, but now he's back where he should be. You're just excited to see how good he is again. So, yeah, cheers for that, Craig. Okay, we're going to move on to our two wide attacking players. Now, this can be a basic right winger or a flair player pushed out wide. It can even be a striker that maybe played there once, who knows. So we're going to go to Craig once again and find out who is on his left-hand side. Not in the room, but in his team.
David Silva for me, very close, which I didn't mention a minute ago about playing inside, but I think playing him on the left-hand side transformed another player who's helped with company, and even Yaya Toure transformed that Man City team into what they are now. I think 9 or 10 years at Man City, I think it was, or something like that. But he's a fantastic footballer, can do everything, can play, can score goals, dictate play, make things happen. He is a fantastic player, and obviously, like you see now, Foden sort of took his place, but he was a fantastic footballer, and I just think he'll grace any team at any level. And he's very versatile. He can play out there. He could play as a number 4 or any positions in the midfield.
I think he started there, Craig, for Valencia. I think he started out that sort of like wide left role, if I remember right.
Yeah. And then you see with a lot of midfielders, like wide players, that can come inside and play there. And I think with the way football's played now, he suits it, and he can make things happen. He can pick out them passes that you need. And he was a fantastic servant to Man City.
Yeah. No, great shout. Who's on the right-hand side then?
I don't know if you know this player, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Cristiano.
I know.
Is that Mr. Ronaldo?
Yeah, Mr. Ronaldo. Yes, I know him. Yes. Yes, I can call him Mr. Ronaldo. But yeah, fantastic player. He come as like a little young boy. I remember the first picture you seen him with his highlighted little curly perm sort of thing. I don't know what. Yeah, and he had baggy shirt on and baggy jeans, and you just thought, who's this lad? But what a player!
Good job we didn't have baggy trousers on. That'd have been madness.
Yeah, there you go.
That's terrible, Stu.
Like it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, what a fantastic player, and the way towards the end of his Man United career, he was unbelievable. The amount of goals he scored, the amount of assists. I remember one of the free kicks against David James. I think it was at Old Trafford, where he's obviously his technique that he's mastered his own, and David James just watched it go in the top corner, and. Yes, I would have loved to have seen him in the Premiership a lot longer than what he did, but the time he was here over a period of time. I think Tony will obviously back this up by watching him more. It took him a while to settle in at Man United, but once he did, what a fantastic player. And now, like I said, which is probably a subject we'll talk about again, for me, he's the best player in the world.
Yeah,
and I'll leave it on that.
That's fair enough. You talk about goals. The one with Ronaldo that stands out for me was that one against Porto, but they're about 40 yards out. That just It's just it seemed to get faster and faster the further it went. Anyway, moving on, we'll go straight to Alex Taylor this time. So, who is your wide left, and then followed by your wide right?
So on my left is Gianfranco Zola. He just made me smile. I just remember the goal. The goal he scored, the goal, we'll all remember it. The goal he scored against Norwich. The tricks he did. I'm all for a fancy player, and he was just, and he's voted one of Chelsea's all-time greats. He came from Parma. He was 30 years old as well, and his small frame as well. And I just think he was a great player. He had skill in abundance. He was part of a quite good Chelsea team as well, with Vialli at the time and Mark Hughes and players like that. But he was just, for me, one of the best players.
Joy to watch, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was just a joy to watch. And I think when we were all a bit younger back then, and I think watching a player like that, it made you really smile. And like you said, going to watch the match of the day and things, and he could do anything with that ball. He was a bit of a genius. So yeah, he's my left, and on my right, same as Craig, Cristiano Ronaldo. Everything. I think the thing with him, he came as a winger, and I think he was very skillful and fast. But once he got that thirst for goals and things, he developed into a better player. And now he's the elite, isn't he? And I think he got better. The older he's got and where he's gone. But there's no one else that could be on that side really. And there were loads of other players, but there is no one who can replace him, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ronaldo is clever, isn't he? He's evolved as a player from position to position, where he's ended up like attacking midfield, and now he's a striker. So he's been very clever with with positions he's played over the years. Tony, let's start with you on your left hand side, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Eden Hazard. I think that Chelsea, absolute ball. I totally, get the sentiment of Zola and stuff like that. But I think in this modern age, he carried Chelsea some games, and I mean and he would get some kicks as well. He was obviously a target because of the player he was, and that's probably the biggest compliment you can get as a player. Craig will probably testify to that nobody ever picked on him.
That's very true. Yeah, let him have the ball, Tony. It was.
No, I mean, he's just a great player. Obviously, suffered from injuries now when he's gone to Madrid, and probably that is, a little bit like what happened to Rooney. Maybe minutes and legs and miles are catching up on him eventually. Who knows? But absolute player, just would have had him at Old Trafford in a heartbeat.
Yeah, he was. Do you know what? He always, every time I watch him play, he looks probably because he is, but he looks absolutely tiny. He looks like a Subbuteo player, doesn't he? It's like just crazy small. I've got a relatively good feeling as to what your answer is for the right-hand side, but we'll let you tell us why.
Yeah, Andrei Kanchelskis. Now, when I was thinking initially, you kind of think about old school wingers. There's not many knocking about, is there now?
No.
How the game's played with the false nines and stuff like that. But, I was looking at Overmars, Perez, great players. But obviously, you can't look further than Cristiano Ronaldo. We don't have to allude to any further superlatives for him, apart from he's the best player I've ever seen live.
Well, who can argue with that? Right, I've gone out of left field, literally, for my left attacking player. I was, because it was between Eden Hazard and who I've gone with, and I've gone with, because he played there at the start, I've gone with Robin van Persie, playing wide left. So when he first came to Arsenal,
Stuart's inquiry on that.
you can inquire all you want. But I mean, for me, going forward, the lad had everything: a touch, a pass. He had assists in him. He could score goals. And when I thought about his
nasty.
Yeah, and when I thought about his longevity in the Premier League, we're talking like, 12 years? No, more than that, about 14 years. So he's got everything, and everywhere he went, he did it, really. And I just think he played there for Arsenal for a number of years. He did that typical Arsene Wenger trick where bringing wide players in and then sort of shaping them into a forward that goes on to be a worldie. Well, so I'm going to stick Robin van Persie on that left attacking side. That surprised you, wasn't it?
It's left field.
Yes, left field. And on the right, well, like I said, you could bang on about it all day. But, arguably the best player of all time or the second best player of all time, either way, that warrants you starting on the right-hand side of all of our dream teams for this particular week. So, yeah, Cristiano Ronaldo on the right-hand side for me. I was trying to think of other famous wingers we could have brought in today, especially on the right. And like you said, I remember some of my earlier football memories. Andrei Kanchelskis, he was just phenomenal to watch. What a joy he was. I saw
that, Tony.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone else did.
I did. Arms out. I think two players that could potentially be on there would be Mohamed Salah and Freddie Ljungberg, but they're just not better than Ronaldo. So anyone else miss out for you guys that you found hard or debated, Alex?
I had a few, strange ones. Janino when they were at Middlesbrough. I had Georgie King-Clancy when they were at,
Janino, what a shout that is.
And David Ginola as well. And obviously Robin. I've got quite a long list really, but they're all players I like.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Benito Carboni as well, if you remember him.
Yeah, you're bringing them all out, aren't you?
Is it? Where's this bell you've been scraping, Alex?
Do you know what it is? I've been watching all VHS's, Tony Hay.
Oh yes, Benito Carboni. What a left foot he had.
Yeah.
Somebody take Match of the Day 1998 on your Lion King.
Yeah.
What about you, Craig? Any players that you missed out?
Not really. Obviously, Overmars, Robin, like you said, Kanchelskis, players like that, but they just don't get near Ronaldo and David Silva for me. Like you said, Silva, and obviously what Ronaldo's doing at the minute and what he did, obviously, to the levels at Man United. But yeah, I think that over the years, you'll know yourself that there's been a lot of good wide players, very good wide players, but they just don't get near to the levels of them two for me. But yeah, there was a few close, but no one who's knocking on the door really for them two positions for me.
It's one of the best sights, I think, in football, isn't it? As a fan, watching a winger be direct, going down the wing. Obviously this is foreign, but the players you see, it's just one of the best things. It's what gets the spectators off the seat, isn't it? Because that's when the excitement builds on that break and just, oh man.
Tony, one of the best performances, Tony, I like seeing, and you won't probably like that, was Overmars when he played at Old Trafford that year.
Scored,
and he was a legend.
I was there,
he was at that stage. He was like, and then he got his move to. Did he go to Barcelona? Was it Barcelona he went to?
Yeah, I think he went with Petit.
Yeah,
didn't he?
but
did he go with Petit?
But you're talking about wide players and getting at people and being fast.
Petit.
He was. Yeah.
That's
We missed Petit out.
Yeah. Like you said, Overmars, people like that. And then Pires, like you said, playing out wide and then coming inside. He was.
Sacre bleu.
Yeah. All right, guys. Just a quick question for you then. So, we'll start with Craig again. Out of all players that make your midfield five, if you could choose one to play for your club, regardless of how unlikely it is, who is it?
It's between Ronaldo and David Silva for me, but because obviously how Ronaldo's done since he's left Man United and what we've been talking about, it'd have to be Ronaldo. And as you know, Stu, he will never play for Coventry City, so it is in my dreams.
It's a bit of a stupid question, really, isn't it? Because we're all going to say Ronaldo. I don't know what I was thinking.
It's all right. You're the boss, mate.
Yeah. No, I just got a bit carried away. That I thought, we've got 5 minutes to burn. Let's ask a stupid question. So I take it to Ronaldo for you, Tony, and you, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, if you take maybe take Ronnie out of it, because is he the last Premier League player to win the Ballon d'Or as well?
No, Modric will have been in what if?
Yeah, but Modric wasn't playing for Tottenham then, was he?
Oh, you mean win the Ballon d'Or whilst in?
Yeah.
I'm not sure he won it with United, did he?
Yeah.
Did he? All right, then you could be correct.
2008, I think.
Well,
we'll check that out. Check that out.
We'll have a look now. We'll have a look. Right, here's a quick question for all of you, and we'll start with Alex. Perez or Overmars?
Perez for me.
Why?
See, I like Mark Van Overmars, but I just think with Perez, I remember his relationship with, the strikers and the balls he played, the goals he scored. I just think for me...
2008.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go for Perez, really.
Okay, Craig, Perez or Overmars?
Perez for me. I just think because, like I've spoke about numerous times, longevity, and then also changing more or less positions as well. Like you said about Arsene Wenger, what he did to players. Perez started as a right or left-sided midfielder, and then he come and played in midfield, and he could link up play. He could take people on. He could set chances up, and I just think the way he played for Arsenal, and I think he's probably just more consistent than Mark Overmars. So I'd go for Perez more because of longevity and also changes in his position during his career.
And Tony?
Andrei Kanchelskis. You know what? I'd actually go Overmars. I think he was a bit more direct. If he just kind of spoke then, that winger at pace, because of his size, he was that kind of little little winger when he just, direct and, good feet.
Do you think he was probably the first winger to come into the Premiership from abroad that really showed how vital pace was to being, to a team in the Premiership? I remember seeing a lot of quick players, but I don't think I ever saw one as quick as him that early on in the Premier League. Was it about 98, 99 when he first come in? That was the first real time I thought, wow, that is one, really direct, quick player. Can you think of anyone else at the time?
I don't necessarily think it's just the pace, mate. I think that, I've seen people at Old Trafford like Orbitan who could run, but, you need a sign at the end of the thing going, stop. It's all right having the pace. And I think Traore is a bit like that at Wolves, isn't he? He's a bit too quick for himself. He's having that pace, but being able to control the ball with it as well and run at speed, consistently well, just at pace is just, it's a real limited talent. I
think when he did come, players were developing and it was something, we'd never seen before, Someone that I didn't mention, but is on my list. What's everyone's views on Di Canio?
Oh, well, I'd have loved it. Do you know something? Even though I'm not a United fan, I would have liked to have seen what would have happened with that. If, when United came in for him.
Oh, I thought you meant when Bartes, but he's...
No. I'd have liked to have seen what would have happened if Di Canio had gone to United for that season. It'd have either been a match made in heaven, or it was...
But just a very strange player, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Just random.
You're fucking madman, that's why.
Yeah.
Did you see it at Swindon where he's trying to pull his player off the pitch, but he was squeezing his neck at the same time? It was like to the cameras, he was trying to go just come off the pitch, but he was squeezing his neck and stuff, and that's when that player turned around and kicked off with him.
I played against a couple of his team, against Swindon when he was manager, and he was on the next level. He was on the next level on the touchline. Yeah, but to be fair to him, afterwards he'd shake all your hands and he'd say little bits and bobs to you. But
they said, "Thank you, Mr. Stanley."
Yeah, he said, "Thank you, Mr. Stanley. You played really well today." I said, "You lying bastard."
What was that goal he scored? That
the volley.
The
volley kick for Upton Park, wasn't it?
Oh,
right. Final question, chaps, before we depart for the evening. Has there been a foreign player over the years or even now that you would have loved to see in the Premiership or you'd like to see in the Premiership?
Midfielder.
Sorry?
A midfielder.
Any foreigner. Just any foreigner.
This was a Twitter question I answered the other day. A player who's played less than 10 games in the Premier League, who was the best? And my answer was Henrik Larsson when he came to United.
Ooh. How many games did he play? About 9.
8. But his movement was phenomenal.
Yeah,
and I mean, not a pacey player, but when you've got that movement, exceptional. So I know he did play, but on loan, I would have loved to have him permanently.
Okay, well, chaps, thank you for joining us. Next week, I can tell you right now, if you watch the show next week, we'll be concluding this weird foreign Premiership quest and
1 to 13.
With one striker. So we'll be talking about the best Premiership foreign striker to wrap this little sequel up, and we'll be doing that next week. But Tony, thank you for joining us. Craig, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Taylor, I hope you've enjoyed another episode of Balls to It. If you like what you see, comment below, give us a share, maybe even subscribe. Either way, if you've got an opinion, you disagree with us, tell us below, write your team up. We want to see what your team is. So thank you for joining us once again, and we'll see you next week. Thank you very much. Ciao.
Ciao.